Guys, Rascal here, and I do want to apologize for the random and sporadic content on my channel. Now, I also want to say that because of other things I've had going on in my schedule, I have not had time to work on my trails. I've not had time to get anything done with any of the projects sitting on the bench. I've not even had any time to work on the bridge project, but that's when we're not trailing today. But for today's idea, I do have an idea. But for today's video, I have an idea of something that is going to be completely different than usual. Now, what that is I'm going to try my best to answer the question that every RC channel has been asked. At least every RC channel I know of has been asked at some point along the way in their comment section is, what RC do you recommend for me? Well, now we're going to assume that we're just going to assume you're starting off with crawlers and you've never had an RC car. You've never even had a new bright car at any point in your life. And which, new bright is just the same as you've never had an RC car. So, say you're looking to get into crawlers. Well, what would I personally recommend is I would recommend an SCX-10-2, a Vetera Ascender, or a Traxxas TRX-4. Now, I know there's other brands out there that are good brands. Their part support is not quite where it needs to be yet for me to say, yeah, get that brand as well, to throw it in there as well. Now, there are other brands I've had. They're off brands or China brands. They're good crawlers. You can get parts for them quite easily, but they're not easy enough to get parts for. Or the parts are inexpensive and you can get them easy enough. It's just, you have to take the time to sit down and sort through and count teeth and this, that, and the other to order what you need. It's not okay, well, read the description and okay, that's what I need, that's what I need, that's what I need. No, it's a sit down and wait. Okay, how many does this have? It's not okay, and you don't get the parts manual with parts numbers. You just get parts descriptions on the cheaper ones. Or you get the parts numbers and you go to punch in the parts numbers and you don't find the parts numbers for the cheaper ones. Because it's Chinese RC, you don't get on the crawler stuff. You get more parts numbers and easier to find replacement parts for the brand names when they break. That's why I personally recommend getting a brand name crawler. Now, I know that with the TRX-4, when Traxxas first released it didn't really have much of a part support from anybody but Traxxas, but now it's getting a good part support. The SCX-10-2, it and its predecessor, the Axial SCX-10, have been on the market for years. So part support is there, and a lot of the SCX-10 parts, as far as for bumpers, stuff like that, transfer over to the SCX-10-2. So you do have follow over part support. So that's the nice part about that. There's a few subtle differences between the original SCX-10 and the SCX-10-2, but I'm not getting into them. And then the Vetera Ascender. It too has enough of a part support out there that you could get into it. Now, I do not recommend purchasing a kit. I don't care what brand it is. Do not buy a kit for your first crawler. You will ultimately never get into a hobby if you do that, because you'll spend too much time wrenching and not enough time trailing. And I know. A lot of RC guys out there is going to tell you that you need to buy the kit first so you learn more about your crawler or any of your RC cars for that matter. But my saying is, get the ready to run. You spend more time learning how to drive the vehicle, then you can get the kit and learn how to build it. But if you're slightly mechanically inclined, and you know that righty-tighty, lefty-loosey on right-hand thread, then you should be fine to rebuild anything on that crawler. As long as you remember lubrication. You do have to lubricate gears and bearings and seal them back up. And you need to Loctite all the threads on every metal part. If you have metal, if you're screwing the screw into any metal that does not have the nylon lock ring and the nuts, then you need to use Loctite. Otherwise, your RC car will fall apart on you. Excuse me. Now, then that's for the crawler aspect. And then I also say, if you're looking to get into bashing, then go with the Traxxas route. I would personally recommend go the Traxxas route or the Losi route. There are some other brands out there you can go with that have been on the market for years, but their part support is not quite where it needs to be. There are a lot of things out there that the part support is not where it needs to be. And I know Traxxas has a lot of big name. They have a lot of different basher style vehicles or short course race vehicles, also in the scale of your choosing. But also, there's another brand that's been around for a while as well, Kyosho. Now, it does have good part support on it, and I would recommend going that way as well. That's another brand I would recommend, and it's slow enough that it is operator friendly. It's beginner friendly for the price point. They have some beginner friendly options. I wouldn't recommend Tamiya too much because they are they're not new, they're old, but they are a kit company. They build a lot of kits. I've yet to see a Tamiya product that was marked as ready to run without being an insanely high price. But even then, I've seen their kits up there, and it's kits at insanely high priced. But all right, now then we're gonna go to now we talk about what we didn't done that again. Water and flight, boats and planes. I would also say again, get a low cost, ready to run. But if you're wanting to get into planes, as something I was told, and this is why I don't do RC airplane, is be willing to, when you buy an RC airplane, be willing to lose that money your first time out, because you can very easily, wind can change, and you can very easily lose that little bit of cash you started off with. Meaning you spend $500 on an airplane, the first time you take it out, you could crash it, and there goes your $500. And you have to replace everything. And I mean, I've got friends that love to fly. I've watched them crash into trees a few times and have to replace the engines because they bent the crankshaft. Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things of, when you get into flying, be willing to just, if you're looking to get into flying model airplanes, be willing to understand that you're not making a long-term investment that you can at any point receive any percentage of it back, because you're looking at something you could very well crash and burn, quite literally, especially if the fuel tank explodes and your engine's still running and it all catches on fire. But anyways, But then the boating aspect. The boating is much like the crawling, except when you have a fail, boating's like the crawling or the bashing aspect. Except when you have a fail, be prepared to go swimming, because you're going to go swimming to find parts in the boat and to recover and to bring it all back. So there is that. Again, I do all, as with anything, I recommend, if you're looking to get into it for the first time, find you a lower cost, ready to run. You don't really want and now that bind and fly, or the bind and run, like one of the Vatera Ascenders. This is something that I will tell you that Horizon Hobby is getting into wanting to do, is they'll put the receivers in them with the bind plug, but they don't want to include a transmitter anymore. And the reason on this is it's cheaper for them to build it without that, and then you have to buy the radio, and not a cheap radio either, because you got multiple, you're buying multiple cars and they want you to put them all on one unit. So yeah, there's that, which, I mean, it really is it's that coin flip, That's where it comes into on some of that is, do I want it or don't I? But, like I said, there are plenty of things, there's enough different brands out there that I say just pick you a big brand with good part support and go that route. Now, when you want to get into flying, then I would just say just get you the cheapest. It don't matter where from, because it's just basically learn the controls and have fun with it, and then after that, then you build up. I've played with a few model planes. I'm not that crazy into flying, and so yeah. But as far as for crawlers, I would recommend an SCX-10-2, a Vatera Ascender that is a ready-to-run Vatera Ascender. I would not fool with a bind and drive. I mean, it's because then you have to buy a radio, and radio systems are not cheap. I mean, yeah, okay, you can find one on Banggood for like $20, but it's not something you're going to be wanting to do when you just spent $300 on a crawler. Is go spend another $20 on a transmitter and another $60 on a battery. But that's part of what you're going to have to be expecting on a lot of these newer crawlers, unless you look and make for sure it comes with everything and is completely ready to run out of the box. You're going to be spending another $60 on top of that. But it is what it is. And the only thing I can tell you is from personal experience and what I've heard and the horror stories I've seen, most people, now this is the public safety announcement bit of it, most people that have lipo fires in the RC hobby use their batteries too long, or they buy the cheaper batteries from places like Banggood, and they buy the cheaper chargers from places, again, like Banggood. Now, to tell you, my personal experiences with this is you get away pretty good if you go to your local hobby shop and you buy a good charger and you buy good batteries. And I don't mean buy them and have them shipped through. Don't have them shipped. Don't go online and buy your batteries online and have them shipped by whatever carrier your country uses. And I say your country because I know I have viewers here on this channel that are not from the United States. So main two say they use Australia Post, which their idea of it is, hang on, let me adjust this camera so y'all can see the full motion. Alright, step back is to hold box, drop box, kick box. Now, here in the US, we have a company here that does a lot of postage moving called United Parcel Service, or UPS. And there's a sticker when you buy your smartphones and stuff on the box that says fragile. And alright, my camera stand's wiggling and it's kind of getting on my nerves, so I'm trying to slow it down a little bit. Anyways, like I was saying, UPS with their, if it says fragile on the box, their statement is kick it that much harder. If it says fragile, use it like a football. I've been tempted to put bricks in a box and then mail it somewhere and have them mail it back. And on the whole side of the box, put fragile stickers on the outside and shock watch stickers on the inside, and on a box of bricks, so that way, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, it says fragile, we kick it, and it ain't fragile, it's something that's going to hurt their foot. But I said I thought about it. Haven't done it yet. Costs too much to do something like that. Way too much. Probably about $75 to $100 one way for shipping on that thing. Plus your bricks. But I have thought about putting shock watch stickers in there. Putting fragile on the outside and shock watch stickers on the inside. But anyway, I'm going to call this video here, guys. As always, peace. Catch y'all in the next one. Magnatfied forum link down below. Y'all come over and check it out, guys. I mean, it's a good place to be. Great place to be. And to go along with the U.S. federal government and Google level doom and gloom, if anything happens to YouTube, you will always find me on the Magnatfied forum, guys. That's, like I said, that's the place you'll find me. Catch y'all later.